It's real. I've traveled all over the world, usually at your expense. I've seen it. I've been to Greenland. I've been to the South Pole. I've been to the Arctic. I've been to the Inuit villages on the Arctic Circle. I have seen it. I've been to the Brazilian rainforest, and for years I have been bitterly disappointed in the Bush administration's failures to act in a effective fashion on this issue. Lieberman and I, proposed the cap and trade. I think that's a free enterprise, market-oriented approach. On the issue of the carbon tax, could I just mention, if they mean by carbon tax an increase in taxes on gasoline, that is a regressive tax. In Washington, D.C., the poorest people live the furthest away. They don't live in Georgetown and have a 5-minute ride to work. So I worry about the carbon tax idea because of its effect on low-income Americans. The cap and trade is being implemented in Europe, and they've stumbled and they've had problems, but it's still the right thing to do. It's what we did in relation to acid rain. Nuclear power has got to be part of any short-term answer to greenhouse gas emissions. It has to be. I'm all for wind, solar, tide, whatever. But when you look at the immediate effect of nuclear power and you look what's happening without it, coal-fired generating plants are being proposed to be built all over this country, which will dramatically increase greenhouse gas emissions. And if you can generate that power and set up a station that is powered by solar, by God, I'd love it. But you know that we don't have that technology. One other small item. Over 50% of Americans drive to work less than 50 miles a day. If we could develop a battery, and we should be able to, say that would allow an automobile to go 200 miles in a day before you plug it in, I think Americans would embrace, a lot of Americans would embrace that. You've got to have practical solutions. Am I prepared to ask them to sacrifice? Sure, but I really want to do the market-oriented stuff first. GE, the world's largest corporation, Jeffrey Immelt, 5 years ago, told me they were going to go green technologies. They are. They're still making huge profits. So it's not as if we have to ask Americans to shiver in the dark. But we have to understand the enormity of this issue, not only for climate change, but the fragility of our dependence on imported oil. About a year and a half ago, there was a suicide bomber attack on a refinery in Saudi Arabia. It failed. Experts tell me if that had succeeded, oil would have gone to $150 a barrel. It's now at, what, 88, 89, whatever it is. It's not going down again. We will never see $10 barrel in oil, not as long as India and China are sucking up a finite resource in the world. So you've got a dual national priorities here that are converging. And finally, could I say, one of my heroes is Tony Blair on this issue, and he put it best. Suppose we are wrong and there's no such thing as climate change and we adapt green technologies. All we've done is given our children a cleaner world. Suppose we are right about climate change and do nothing. Then what have we done for our kids?